Hi everyone. In this episode, I'm going to show you how to create an executable. Let's face it, you don't always want to run your program from the development environment. So sometimes when your program is done or you're going to use the 1.0 version for a while before you improve it, well, you're going to just want to have it as an executable, meaning one click and the program starts running, and you can also distribute it. So let's get started.
Today, I'm going to show you not just how to create the executable, I'll also show you how the entire progression is put together. So basically from A to Z. As you could see, I have the Excel AI Analyzer program on the desktop here, and this is what the executable looks like. And this is something that you can also redistribute. If I click on it, one click, and I have the program up and running. So if you create a game or any app, you could just go ahead and turn it into an executable and one click and you're good to go. So here, Excel AI Analyzer, we could see that the app works. I could import an Excel file and there we go. We have the program. Again, basically a one click and we get it started. There we go. It wasn't shut down properly before. So let's just close it and one click and the programs start. Test again and it works. So how do we put this together? Let's go to Visual Studio. I have created a folder called folder X, and folder X, the name of the folder is essentially the name of your project. This folder X has a file called fm.py. The .py, of course, being meaning that it's a Python file. So we have the fm.py. I have a script in the fm.py. So basically, our fm script is a conversion calculator. I'm going to just go ahead and open it in our Visual Studio. So I'm going to go to File. Normally, you want to have the folder set up on your desktop. You don't necessarily need to have a file in it. You could create the file as a new file from your coding environment. In this case, since we already have the file in the folder, we're just going to open it. So here we go, folder X. And we're going to open the file and it's got a code in it. It's a very short one. It essentially transforms feet to meters. The next thing that we're going to do is let me just open the Python environment area and our terminal as well. We'll click on New Terminal. Let me just increase the font size a bit. The next step is we want to create our environment. So all of this info is in the GitHub. So you would have this in the Snake Charmer data GitHub repository. And there you have the Python environments information. So you could just click on that and you'll have the information on how to set up Python environments and then how to turn your Python script into an executable. I've downloaded that as normally anyone that goes to the repository, so you could just download so you can copy the scripts. Let me show you how they work essentially. So the first thing we want to do for FM is create the environment for it. We have to create the environment, the process is the following. So we have Python, we have a dash M. So this is basically the nomenclature. Um, and so we have the Python dash M, VENV for virtual environment, and then the folder name underscore env for environment. So just want to bring to your attention here that there is a difference. Just make sure that uh, after the dash M, you put VENV for virtual environment, and then the name of the folder underscore environment. Let's copy that and we put it inside the terminal. And we're going to run that. Actually, the first thing we needed to do is just make sure that we save this file. Now it's saved. Next step is we want to activate. So we would have source folder X underscore environment. So again, our folder name, folder X. And then we have /bin/activate. But just for good measure, let me just enter this here once again because we forgot to save. So very important, when you create your file, make sure that you save it. Let's rerun this again. All right. And next, this is the next step. Now, as you can see, there's a folder X environment that was created. So we have that in our environment. Let's just save it again. Let's run it just to make sure that it works. And here is our program. So basically, it's a program that converts feet to meters. There we go. The next step is to make sure that we go ahead and create this as a package. So let's set it up as a package. And for that, we will do pip install PyInstaller. We may already have this. So let's see if it says that it's satisfied. And it's already satisfied because I had pre-installed this with a package. The next step is to enter this code. Again, this is in the GitHub. So all you would do with that code is you would have the path, so CD, then the wavy sign, forward slash, desktop. Of course, just check on my GitHub files. There is an option for the Mac OS environment, and there is a different option that's slightly different for the Windows environment. And then the name of your folder, and that's what we've just entered. The next step is PyInstaller, windowed, one file, and then the name of the file that will be converted in the package that we have, which will be called folder X, which is also, quote, the project. Let's input this. And here we go. So I'm just going to increase this and show you that the process has begun. And what it's doing here is that it built a package with all the contents that are needed to run this application. In other words, it has taken just the libraries that it needs and the code that it needs and packaged it in a way that you can now redistribute it to other users that use the OS environment. If you wanted to create for the Windows environment, you would have to create it through a Windows system. You cannot cross uh, cross um, cross between one environment to another. So if it's built on the OS environment, it's distributable. You could distribute it to OS environments. If it is created through a Windows environment, you can only distribute it to Windows environment users. However, there are some workarounds, and I have included that in my GitHub repository. So let's see. We should have an executable folder X now. And if we open the folder X, we have the distributable, and there it is. Here is our FM. Let's just drag it to the desktop and let's see what we get. Is this going to work? I'm just going to close everything. Double click, and here's our program. There we go. All of this info is in the repositories. So again, go through Python environments, and so that is to set up the environment when you set up your your first project, and then you could just refer to turning your Python script into an executable. I recommend turning it into an executable if you've created a game and you want to play around with it. You don't want to go to your Visual Studio every single time you want to run the game, right? You don't want to click on VS and then run. Um, this doesn't stop you from uh, continuing to build on your project. Like you could have this project, like call it 1.0, and then the next project, if you make upgrades to it, call it 2.0, and so on and so forth. But just to run it and just to run a program, whether it's a uh, application that is a game or any other type of application, like for instance our Excel application, you may not want to run it unless you keep building and upgrading it. But creating it into an executable is actually a great idea. So I hope you enjoyed this lesson and do join me for the next one as we will start building projects that are a lot more modular, a bit more complex in design, and we're going to have fun. And that's what it's all about. Thanks for watching. Have a good one. Bye for now.